What if the stress you're drowning in is also the thing keeping you afloat? Most people don't realize this, but chaos can be comforting, not because it feels good, but because it feels familiar. You learn to live in the middle of the mess, the noise, the rush, the tension, and after a while, the stillness you say you want starts to feel unbearable. You say you want peace, but when peace arrives, your mind starts scratching the walls, looking for something to fix, fight, or prove. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't just tolerate stress, you depend on it. And no, it's not your fault. Somewhere along the line, you learn that your worth is tied to how much you can carry. Maybe you were praised for being the one who could hold everything together. Or maybe you survived a version of life where being calm meant being caught off guard. So you trained yourself to stay on alert, to keep the fire burning just hot enough that you wouldn't have to feel what's underneath the ashes. In yogic psychology, this is what we might call a samskara, a deep, unconscious imprint left by repeated experiences. If you lived through years where urgency was love, chaos was normal, or stress meant safety, that pattern settles into your nervous system like a groove in the earth. You follow it automatically, even when it no longer serves you. Stress became a companion, a ritual, a rhythm. Wake up, brace yourself, repeat. You organize chaos like a master conductor because deep down, it's what your nervous system recognizes as safe. Not because it's healthy, but because it's predictable. And that predictability can be more comforting than the unknown stillness of a regulated life. Rest starts to feel suspicious. Slowness feels like failure. Ease feels like laziness. So even when life gives you space, you fill it with noise, with deadlines, with new goals, with someone else's drama. You don't know you're doing it, but a part of you panics when things are calm, like something must be wrong, like the other shoe is about to drop. The Bhagavad Gita offers an antidote here. It speaks of sthita prajna, a state of stable wisdom. A person rooted in sthita prajna is not agitated by ups and downs, nor do they chase stimulation to feel alive. They don't swing with every external disturbance. Instead, they move from a deeper inner seat. And while that might sound unreachable, it's really a practice of gradually loosening the grip of compulsive motion and reconnecting to inner steadiness. But the body wasn't made for this kind of constant charge. Eventually, it wears you down, and you start to feel the symptoms, not just physically, but existentially. You lie awake even when you're tired. You can't relax even on vacation. You miss moments even when everything is okay, because a part of you is always preparing for something to go wrong. This is what unhealed stress addiction looks like. It's not about how much you're doing, it's about what you're avoiding. Because sometimes the hardest thing to face isn't the chaos. It's what shows up when it's finally quiet. The grief, the emptiness, the parts of you that were never allowed to rest. In Vedantic thinking, there is a concept called avidya, misidentification, mistaking the non-self for the self. When you cling to stress, you're often identifying with the part of you that has learned to survive but forgotten how to simply be. The part that thinks, if I'm not achieving, I don't exist. And so the noise becomes a mask, a way to not meet the still sacred self underneath. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Breaking this cycle doesn't start with a wellness routine or productivity hack. It starts with gently asking yourself, what am I afraid will surface if I stop? And then listening to the answer. Because the opposite of chaos isn't silence, it's safety. Safety in your own body, safety in the slowness, Safety in knowing that you don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion, that your value doesn't rise and fall with how many fires you're putting out. This is not about becoming a new person overnight. It's about noticing the moments you reach for noise and asking, what am I trying not to feel right now? Can I pause here just for a moment and let stillness stay? You won't get it right every time. That's okay. But each time you choose rest over the rush, honesty over overfunctioning, calm over control, you're teaching your body a new rhythm, one that doesn't need chaos to feel alive, one that trusts that you are allowed to feel safe, even when there's nothing left to fix. Each time you choose rest over the rush, honesty over overfunctioning, calm over control, you're teaching your body a new rhythm, one that doesn't need chaos to feel alive, one that trusts that you are allowed to feel safe, even when there's nothing left to fix. But how do you begin unlearning a lifetime of chaos? Start by noticing your cravings for noise, not to judge, but to gently observe. The next time you instinctively reach for your phone in a quiet moment or overload your calendar on a free day, pause. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding right now? That question alone can start breaking the spell. Create rituals that return you to stillness. Not productivity hacks, but grounding anchors. A slow walk at sunset, lighting a lamp before sleep, 5 minutes of watching your breath without changing it. These are not small things, they're rewiring tools. Learn to sit with the emptiness. Most of us run from silence because we are afraid of what might surface. But the truth is, what rises in stillness is not your enemy. It's your unattended self, the one that's been asking to be held, not fixed. Redefine what safety feels like. Instead of associating it with achievement or busyness, start building a body memory of peace. What clothing helps you relax? What music slows your pulse? What place makes you feel whole? Use these cues to rebuild the architecture of inner safety. Remember, you don't heal from chaos by fighting it harder. You heal by slowly creating a life that no longer depends on it.